Well, as you can see, conveniently spread across the floor are all my creator sets. And so, in case you haven't already guessed, in part 3 of the Ultimate LEGO Review, I'm going to look at the Creator Series. Well, the Creator Series that I own anyway. Which I have to say is one of the possibly most inventive sets series that LEGO has ever made. But we'll soon find out. Welcome to the Ultimate LEGO Review Part 3. Now, because of the different scales of these sets, I think the way we're going to do this is to do these 4 smaller sets together, these 2 larger sets together, and then we can do a complete overview at the end. So let's start off with these smaller sets over here, the 2 of the older versions that Alrighty, so as you can see, these are the 2 older creator sets. So let's have a look at one of the old original box arts up close. We've got this sort of Hero Factory-esque kind of box here. We've got the hard plastic shell with the translucent lid which comes off. Now it's got stickers on it, as you can see. On the front, we've got a large picture of the main model, and then the 2 smaller ones up here. And on the back, we've got these models again. And then of course, all these little detailing along the sides. Now what's interesting is that these are always marked under some specific kind of idea. So this one, I'm pretty sure, was mini construction. However, I can't quite remember. This one was naturally mini trains. Now it's also got the same kind of design as you can see, with the big main one, which is a steam locomotive here, with the 2 smaller vehicles at the top, and then we turn it around, we've got the same arrangement. And also, a different colour scheme, a brown lid as opposed to a green one. So now let's actually have a look at the instructions quickly. As you can see, we've got that design with the advertising lacking on the back, which is slightly unusual. Then again, these are older era sets, about 2008, 2007 circa. And we can see we've got the piece list on the back. And we've got LEGO instructions, once again, before the time where each little step had the pieces you need, rather they just sort of appear from one step to another. This is the same in this train set, we've got the pieces on the back. And then as you can see, the instructions split up into the 3 different locomotives. So what about these locomotives? Well, alright. So here we can see, this is the main build, as you can see, because it takes up the front of the box from this set. Now, I must say, I think Creator is possibly one of the most creative and innovative series ever, because from these pieces here, which when you look at it, really are quite specific to this design, actually make 2 other reasonably decent models. Now this model's quite nice. You've got 6 spinning wheels, these lights, a rotating body here, and then we've got this movable digging claw for this excavator. Whoops. Now, because of the amount of sets we've got, this is going to take way too long for I go through and build them all, but I'll give you a quick overview of each of the other sets. Now, this set here, which you can see is a little of a forklift, has the moving wheels and the antenna, but this doesn't move. However, it's interesting to note that this doesn't have, these sets do not have a lot of pieces left over. In fact, if we get them out, for this one, these are the only 2 pieces left. Naturally, of course, these 2 secondary models have more pieces left over than this one. But on the whole, these 2 especially have reasonably little leftover pieces, especially compared to some of the sets we'll find out later. And this set here, as you can see, is a truck with a trailer, and you can see that there's this truck part at the front, and this trailer is detachable and the wheels move. So this has by far the most movability in it, and I think, personally, is the best model. Alright, so we've had a look at this set. Now we can have a look at this train. Now, naturally, everyone, as you've all established, I've got this bit of a train obsession, so of course I got the train one. Quite a nice train. It's a American style, which is interesting, because, you know, as we know, LEGO is made in Europe. But it's also a very recognisable kind of train with the big smokestack and the little cowcatcher on the front. Now, what's interesting about this is that it's got this sort of little knob bit at the back, which means you can actually clip other sections, in fact, if I actually take off this lid here, one of these pieces can actually clip into there. However, none of the sets actually facilitate that happening, which is interesting. So I suppose if you bought two of the sets, you might actually be able to couple them together. Except that I think the couplings are actually different heights for the different sets. So an interesting choice by LEGO there. You think they could have just made a dummy coupling. Another thing interesting to note is that these wheels don't actually fit on any track systems at all. But they still do look quite nice. Now as you see, the funnel is on a pivot, which is an interesting attachment, and the boiler is actually not attached to the body until the dome section. Now if you have a look at these two models, we've got this diesel engine, which is quite nice with the moving wheels. Once again, an American Alco style diesel. And then this electric sort of tram engine thing, which I have to say then this is a bit more of a European type tram with the small wheels in the middle and the big ones on the outside. And I think one stark contrast with these is the difference in size. I mean, like, all of these ones are quite large, especially when compared to the little digger we've got here. And this one, as you can see, has about the same amount of leftover pieces. Of course, in the other engines you've got this final bit left over. It still only counts as one piece. So overall, for value for money, these two are pretty good sets. I was about to see, they're going to get even better. Let's move on. Alrighty, first thing about these new sets is they've got the new box design. Now you can see that at first it's not very different until you realise that you've got this here and the bar at the bottom showing the other two. Whereas before we just had them floating at the top. Turn around the back and we've got the three vehicles. This one's a bit ripped, showing the other one. Almost the same size on the back, which is a far better representation than this idea of having these two secondary models, which may be your favourite, on there, which is really interesting. So now if we move these back to the front, we can look at the instructions. Once again, different. We've got this same size, but now we've got the advertising on this pane here, and the picture is actually being shrunk, as we can see, of the actual models themselves. However, if you have a look, we've got your pieces, once again, and then your instructions. Now, once again, these are missing the LEGO bits which tell you which are being added in each step in the corners. However, they do have some more arrow sections to sort of indicate which pieces are being added. But then again, here we go, we can see this is the boat form, which is really quite a decent sized set. So if we compare it to the train, which was big before, and compare it to the little truck, they're actually getting quite large. I think this is actually the largest of the four, which is interesting because they're all the same price. However, this one has quite a few pieces left over, as we can sort of see here. So it doesn't stick to the true creative form as well as some of the others. And you can see that, like, we've got this sort of big engine thingy with the fire coming out the back, which isn't quite prototypical. And now if we move on to this truck, once again, new box design. We can see that this one actually got this sort of four-wheel drive, this forklift truck thing, and a tractor. Now we've got the forklift truck thing built. Somehow, I don't know how, whoever built this last, actually made it a mirror. This should be on the opposite side and that should be on that side. Not a bad model. It's got the moving arm. This thing moves here, this little thing on the end. And it's quite an interesting model, once again with the same kind of instructions. This set also has, comparatively, quite a few pieces left over. So it's interesting to note that these two seem to have a few more pieces left over than these two. Then again, these are the secondary models, which must be taken into account. So, overall, how do I rate these small sets? Well, they're cute, I must say. And for me, the train was a must-have. However, do I use them? Well, no, not really. See, as I'll explain to you later, Creator has one big problem, which I'm getting to. But one which is especially prevalent in these sets is the scale. So it's very hard for these sets to interact because of the strange differences in size. And the fact that they really share very few links at all. But if you're a fan of trains or construction vehicles or aeroplanes and fast forms of transport, then I think these sets are definitely for you, especially because these newer ones with the lower prices, but the more and more pieces you're getting, which is especially good if you like to make your own creations, as Creator implies. So now on to the two big sets that I own, which at the moment don't look very big, do they? That's exactly what we're going to find out. This is actually the first creator model that my brother actually received. Now as you can see, this one is a lot more bigger and detailed. We've got this big truck, the car, which is the main, and we've got this racing car. Now what's interesting is that we can see it's actually got a separate book for the car showing you just how much extra effort they put into the car, whereas the other two vehicles fit in this book. Now this is actually the F1 car, which isn't really a good example, but because it takes so long to make this car, because as you can see it's got very intricate pieces, very nice design I must say. I really didn't have time to actually put it together. So as you can see, this is a very basic model, and this sort of, I think this exemplifies somewhere where creators got a bit slack. Lego got a bit slack with this one. And yeah, it's a nice F1 car, but it's pretty ordinary, especially when you compare it to the truck and the car. What also makes it a little bit ordinary is, okay, you can see that we've got the Christmas sets mixed in there, but they don't have many spare pieces. The huge amount of spare pieces we've got in there. Look at all of them over here. Not used at all. And so I think that's one thing that really disappoints me about these sets, is that they're really not very, the bigger ones especially, don't have that same sort of coolness of all the parts being reused as the big ones do. So as I said, the main set of this car is really nice, the other two, not so much. And now onto the latest addition to our creator line, which as you can see, I've still got the box for this one, is the big helicopter set. Once again with a 3-in-1 with a plus power functions. Now let's have a look at that. Now, first you can see what's on the back. We've got that design showing all three of them. They're all sort of water-based, sort of loosely water-based. You've got this cargo plane, you've got this sort of light plane, and this big speedboat. Now the speedboat unfortunately happened to be the one built, and once again, because it takes so long to build, haven't really had time to put it back together, but you can still get an idea of what they're like. Now once again, the bigger the sets get, the more you realise that they're cheap. This is probably the worst model of the three. The plane being the second, and the helicopter is definitely the first. Helicopter with, you know, the spinning rotors and the lowering of the cargo, all that kind of thing. The plane's got the spinning propellers on the wheels, and this has got not bad features. It's got the two little nice replications of motors that can move up and down, and these little antenna things. Yeah, let's have a look at this wind-up feature. Now the way it works is like so. We get the model, assuming the camera comes back in focus, there we go. We pull it out, you can hear it clicking. That's as far as it goes, because as you can see, there's actually a lot of string coming from here to actually allow it to come out at the end. And then with the press of this, here you go. Yay. Now it doesn't look very impressive on this, but on the helicopter it looks much more impressive when you're raising it up, or on the plane where you press it and the propeller spins. Now if we have a look at these instructions, we can see that once again we've got a whole book dedicated to the main instruction, and we've got some of the new instructions now with the little box showing us all the pieces we need. And then these two, which have been put into the same book because of their lack of details. Now we've got your advertising on the back, which is, you know, as we know, very out of date. And that's really all. Now, as I said before, I hinted that there was some great big problem that I've always had with the creator. And it's the fact that it's missing the very essence that I think of Lego today. Because I think in today's society, simply having bricks and putting together isn't enough. Especially with all these, you know, TV shows, computer games, everything like that. They all require some interaction, and I don't think, especially personally for me, I hate building Lego, to be honest. I find building really frustrating and tedious, especially when I just can't wait to actually get and use the model. And so I actually think that these sets are really for people who like building things. And I've always found that the problem with them is that they have no storyline. There's no creator story. It's just, here, have these bricks, you make a model out of it, of 1 in 3, probably the first one because it's the best. The other two have been pretty badly designed, and then do what you want with it. And that's what I've always found the problem to be, because I much prefer ones like Mars Mission, the theme sets, you know, Mars Mission, and you've got like Power Miners and all those kind of sets. As I said, even Lego City I don't like very much, hence the fact I'm not actually going to do a review on it, because I really don't like the themes, and that's why I've got very few sets. Because it's very loosely themed and not very creative. And so I think these sets are really good for people who like building Lego, or, as I said, I would buy the train one just because I like trains. But apart from that, I really don't think Creator is a very crash shot series for people who really want to get down and play, especially because of the fact, as we can see, they're not, these two are in scale, but this one is meant to be a forklift, and it's clearly not going to be lifting up this boat anytime soon. So there you go, that's my sort of look and review of my Creator series. Now, feel free to comment your experience with Creator series and which sets you have. Maybe I've just got some of the boring ones and there are some really exciting ones. I know there are like dragons and houses and everything. But as I said, the absence of even minifigures, even going with these sets, also took it a bit out of me, because it's not even like people are driving them. And those of you with a keen eye in this review would have seen something hiding in the background. And look at this. Now, why would I include this in this review, you ask? Well, because I think it's almost a Creator type set. Now let's have a look. What it is a book by Klutz. And what it's about is Lego Action Crazy Contraptions, as you can see, a Lego Inventions book. Now at first I was like, oh, this looks great. And then I realised something. This is all the pieces you get. I must say, they're very nice Technic pieces. And for those who like to build things with cogs and gears, be a nice addition to your collection. Now, as we look through it, we realise that maybe some of the things aren't great. I mean, that's pretty simple. The coat hanger Daredevil is not too bad. Spinning Tops is pretty average. And the rubber band base isn't that bad either, actually. But overall, I mean, the things that they ask you to make are pretty basic. And there really aren't that 5 sets, because as you can see, this rocket car is actually the frame of the same one used. And the now's ones it asked you to use are the bricks. And of course at the time, I did not own any other Lego bricks, because I must say, I'm a sticker for keeping up with the instructions, and I don't usually wreck up my models to make mocks at all. So I definitely wasn't going to wreck any up to make some things like the automatic goal kicker, the Kentucky Do Nothing, or the trapdoor cable car machine, which I do admit I made at a friend's house, which is pretty cool. So, to be honest, this version of this book, pretty ordinary. There's not really much in here that's worth buying for, especially because it came at a price of like $25 or something. However, I must say there's been a revelation. There is actually a new version of this, which comes with contraptions, and 15 right out of the box. There's no extra pieces that you need to take with you, and nothing extra you need to bring in. All the pieces there with you. And that, I must say, is far more recommended than this. So, whereas this little Creator-like thing, well, I think it missed. But anyway, that's all for now from TrainzXtreme.